Hello friends, welcome to the channel, and if you're new here, welcome to my channel. My name is Bethany King. I went from living in my parents' basement to buying a house down the street from them and running a 7-figure business through social media selling real estate. I quit my government job after learning these things. Now, I had my first daughter in 2014. I was working Hudson's Bay corporate. I was laid off. I worked at Loblaws corporate. I had a very short stint as a merchant for seasonal confectionery. And then I went into the government. I worked Service Canada in ESDC. So we would fund different non-for-profit programs. And I remember at that time, I was a single mom, and my parents and my family and everybody around me, they were so proud of me that I had this government job, and I was what they call indeterminate. So you could virtually never get fired. You had job security for life, you had benefits, you had a pension, and you had respect from other people. It was a very admirable thing when I would tell people I have a government job. And the experience, although on the outside looked like I was successful and I had a great job and I was making great money and I had job security, that was a time in my life when I would say that was probably the lowest time in my life. I was a single mom and I was living in my parents' basement, and I was commuting to work from Brampton to Richmond Hill. So if you're not familiar with the area, that's a 1-hour commute one way. So I was commuting 2 hours a day, and my hours were 7 to 3. So I'd put my daughter in the before school program, drop her off at literally 6 a.m. in the morning. And I would be racing home to try to get to her before rush hour traffic. Not only that, in my particular department, and everything that I'm saying doesn't apply to every single other government job out there, so please don't come for me. This is just my unique experience, but my superiors in that role really didn't like me, and they really made my life a living hell. So if across my commute, I would cross train tracks, and if the train happened to be passing one day on my commute, which happened maybe out of the whole couple years I was working there, it happened maybe 4 or 5 times. If I was late to work because the train crossed my path, they would dock me 15 minutes from my vacation pay. And my leadership there just constantly, it was just humiliating. Everything that I did was wrong. I was being micromanaged. And that's why I left and I went into real estate. But not only that, was that on the outside, everyone kind of perceived me as like doing relatively well. I had a good job, I made good money, I had good security, good job security. But actually in the inside, I had never been so depressed in my entire life. And I would cry in my cubicle weekly. And I would make jokes about it. We would make light of it. But I would literally be sobbing in my cubicle trying to meet these targets, and that were impossible because I had really bad leadership. But you know what? I thank those people so much today, because they pushed me out of that job. And it was only when I was in that job that I realized that I needed to go into real estate. Now, number one reason is it's very depressing. And I have heard that across the board when I did talk about this on TikTok, that it can be really, really depressing working in the government, working in corporate, especially if you're like a creative person, or if you're somebody who likes to excel and likes to bring ideas forward. Not every single work environment is supportive of that. Another big issue that I found, and this wasn't unique to the government, this was like at any sort of 9-to-5 job, was that I couldn't take care of my kids. I remember working corporate in fashion and getting a call from the daycare, and the daycare being like, your daughter has a fever, I need you to come and get her. And then I would go to my manager and I would ask permission. I'll be like, can I go pick up my daughter? She has a fever. And that was such an uncomfortable position to be in, because why should I ask anybody for permission when my children need me? It was awful. So that was another moment that I had where I realized this is just not going to work for me, because at the end of the day, my kids obviously come first. I think everybody's kids come first over a job. So it was highly depressing. I could not take care of my kids. I found myself, even while working these quote unquote like pretty good jobs at the time, I was not able to build any wealth. Like maybe I was putting a couple bucks aside, but it wasn't making a significant dent or anything, moving up the corporate ladder. I believe that there's studies on this where staying in a job too long actually means that you actually lose a lot of potential wealth. And the only way to really build wealth while working corporate or working a 9 to 5 is to job hop, right? So I found myself, I could not really build wealth in this job. But most importantly was that I could not buy a house based on that income alone. And I was buying a house as a single person. I was a single mom at the time, and my income at the time could afford me a mortgage, but that amount of mortgage would not allow me to buy anything in the area where I live. You see, where I live, our average home price is about $1 million across the board. Yes, you can find entry-level stuff for $500,000, $600,000, $700,000, but even an income of, let's say, $50,000 could only afford you a mortgage of $200,000 to $300,000. So when people ask me and they say, why did you go into real estate? I say it was for the money. It's for the money. And I think anybody who tells you otherwise is lying. Anybody who says, oh, I just love hardwood floors. Like, girl, no, you don't. So because I was indeterminate with the government, I was allowed to take certain leaves. I had like a 1-year leave and a 2-year leave or something with my indeterminate status. So what I did was, at first I was trying to do both. I was trying to sell real estate and work this day job, and that was like virtually impossible. I was working 19-hour days and I could not put my full focus on either one. So I said, I'm gonna do a deal and then I'm going to take a leave. That's exactly what I did. I did a deal. I made $6,000, big money, big money. I was ballin', ball shot caller. I'm a little $6,000 check. I was driving a BMW X3. I took my leave. Guess what happened? Boom, car broke down. Turbo broke down on my car. And guess how much it cost to fix that? Yeah, it was $6,000 to fix it. So there goes all of my money. I took leave, not working. My little money that I had saved up, I had to put it towards my car to fix my car. So it's basically starting from scratch. And it was from there, because I took my leave in April. And it was that summer where I just busted my tail. And by the time that the summer was over, so it was August, I had already made my entire salary corporate in like 3-4 months. So from there, I kept selling real estate. And then when my leave was up, they asked me to come back and I said no. And it was only then that I quit my government job after learning these things, that your mental health is more important than any job. You need to be able to take care of your kids, especially when you're a single mom. You need to be able to build wealth some way or shape or form. And for me, my personal goal was that I needed to buy a house, and I wanted to buy a house so badly. And that is exactly what I did 2 years to the month that I got my license. So if you like this video, please watch my other video over there. And if you enjoyed it, please like and subscribe. If you'd like to book a one-on-one consultation with me, you will see the link down in the caption. And if there's any other topics that you want me to touch on, just leave them in the comments. Thanks for watching.